Olivia Carter froze the moment she stepped into her living room. The soft click of her designer heels echoed once against the hardwood floor, then stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. A man she had never seen before was sitting in her favorite antique armchair, calm, relaxed, feeding her 6-month-old daughter, her baby, Mia. For half a second, Olivia wondered if exhaustion had finally broken her mind. She worked 16-hour days as a CEO of Carter Innovations, managing billion-dollar contracts and global teams. Maybe she was hallucinating. But then Mia gurgled happily, milk dribbling down her tiny chin. Reality slammed into her. "Who are you?" Olivia demanded, her voice sharp, her heart pounding so hard it hurt. "And why are you holding my baby?" The man looked up slowly. No panic, no guilt, just tired eyes and a calm expression. He gently tilted the bottle, making sure Mia kept drinking before answering. "My name's Ethan," he said evenly. "I'm the repair technician. Your nanny let me in to fix the furnace." Olivia's fingers tightened around her phone. "And you thought it was appropriate to sit here with my child?" He nodded toward Mia. "About 20 minutes ago, your nanny got a call. Said her mother had an emergency and she had to leave immediately. She asked if I could stay with the baby until you got home." Olivia's mind raced. She glanced down at her phone. 3 missed calls. 2 unread texts. "Mrs. Carter, I'm so sorry. My mom collapsed. I had to run to the hospital. The repairman said he'd stay with Mia. Please don't be angry. Her chest burned." "You're telling me," Olivia said slowly, anger rising, "that my nanny left my infant daughter with a complete stranger?" Ethan shifted for the first time, discomfort flashing across his face. "I know how it sounds. But she was crying, panicking, and Mia started crying too. That's supposed to make this better." "No," he said quietly, "but I'm a dad. I have a little girl myself. I couldn't just walk out and leave your baby alone." Olivia crossed the room in 3 quick steps and scooped Mia into her arms. Ethan handed her over without hesitation. Mia was warm, safe, content, too content. "I should call the police," Olivia said, though even she heard the doubt in her own voice. "You could," Ethan replied calmly, "but I promise you, I didn't mean any harm. I just stayed because someone needed to." Olivia studied him. His clothes were worn, his hands rough. He looked nothing like the polished executive she dealt with daily. "Where's your daughter now?" she asked quietly. "With my sister. She's 3. My wife passed away last year." The anger inside Olivia softened, just a little. "I'm sorry," she said, surprising herself. Ethan nodded. "Thank you, and I'm sorry for the scare. I told Rachel I'd wait. I couldn't leave. Most people would have." "I'm not most people," he said simply. They held each other's gaze for a long moment. "Did you fix the furnace?" Olivia asked. "Yes. Your heat's back on." She exhaled. "What do I owe you?" "The company will bill you," he said, gathering his tools. "But after today, let's just call it even." "I can't do that," Olivia replied. "You stayed with my daughter. That goes beyond your job." He paused at the door. "She's a sweet baby," he said softly. "And for what it's worth, you're doing a good job." The words hit Olivia harder than any boardroom battle ever had. No one ever told her that. "Thank you," she whispered. After he left, Olivia sat in the quiet house, holding Mia, thinking about a stranger who stayed when he didn't have to. She didn't know it yet, but that moment had just changed her life. The following Saturday, Olivia packed Mia into her stroller, nerves and excitement tangled in her chest. Ethan had agreed to meet them at the neighborhood park, the place where his daughter, Sophie, often played. It was the first time their children would meet. Olivia had no idea what to expect. The park was alive with the laughter of kids, the soft rustle of leaves, and the distant honks of city traffic. But Olivia barely noticed anything except Ethan standing near the sandbox, watching Sophie with a gentle, patient gaze that immediately reminded her of the man who had held her baby that chaotic Tuesday. Sophie, 3 years old, bounded toward them, her dark curls bouncing, her father's kind eyes wide with curiosity. She froze when she saw Mia in the stroller, then slowly approached, stretching out her tiny hand. "Hi," she whispered, Tentative. Mia's tiny hands reached back instinctively. Olivia lifted her from the stroller and lowered her gently toward Sophie. The two girls stared at each other for a heartbeat. Then Mia giggled, Sophie beamed, and suddenly the air around them seemed lighter. Ethan crouched to Sophie's level, whispering, "Be gentle." She nodded, mimicking the careful way her dad handled her own toys. Olivia watched, captivated, noticing the way Ethan moved with such quiet assurance, his love for Sophie evident in every glance, every word. "She's wonderful," Olivia said softly, almost to herself. "She's a handful," Ethan corrected, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "But she's amazing, and she's brave, just like her mom." Olivia felt warmth flood her chest. Brave, amazing. Sophie's trust in him, and Mia's instant affection, gave her a strange sense of hope. Maybe this could work. For the next few hours, the park became their world. Slides, swings, sandbox castles, and tentative hand-holding filled the afternoon. Olivia watched Ethan interact with both children, patient, playful, and effortlessly attentive. The contrast to her own experience with boardroom meetings, endless calls, and polished executives was stark, but refreshing. At one point, Ethan handed Mia back to Olivia while Sophie built a sandcastle. Olivia hesitated, then noticed a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He didn't have to say anything. She understood. He was showing her that he wasn't just a stranger. He was someone she could trust, someone who had a way of making complicated things seem simple. When they sat on the park bench for a water break, Olivia finally asked, "Why did you really stay the other day?" Ethan paused, brushing a strand of hair from Sophie's forehead. "After my wife died, there were days when I had to take Sophie to work with me because no one could help. People judged me. But when Rachel called and asked me to stay, I saw the panic in her eyes. I remembered how alone I felt sometimes. And I thought, what if someone had been there for me? I didn't want Mia to feel that fear. I just stayed." Olivia's chest tightened. She had spent years building walls, protecting herself from disappointment, from betrayal, from loss. Yet here was a man, vulnerable in his own grief, showing up because it was the right thing to do. For the next few weeks, park visits became routine. Dinners turned into coffee dates, then lunches, then afternoons spent at each other's apartments. Sophie and Mia's friendship flourished, fearless and innocent. Olivia and Ethan discovered common ground. The exhaustion and joy of raising children alone, the small sacrifices that no one else could understand, the unspoken bond of parents who put their children first. One evening, after the girls had gone to sleep, Olivia and Ethan sat on her apartment balcony. The city light shimmered below them, but it felt as though they were in their own quiet world. "This is strange, isn't it?" Olivia asked, her fingers tracing the edge of her coffee cup. "You're an HVAC technician. I run a tech company worth billions. We shouldn't even be here like this." "Why not?" Ethan replied, voice soft but steady. "Different worlds. Yes, but look at us. Two people who love their daughters, who know the meaning of sacrifice. Everything else? Details." Olivia smiled faintly, tears pricking her eyes. Most men had been intimidated by her life, her wealth, her position. But he wasn't most men. He wasn't interested in her money. He cared about her. About her. "I've never felt like this in years," Ethan admitted. "Since my wife, nothing was ever the same. But you make it feel like there's hope again. Like the world can be simple, at least sometimes." Olivia leaned forward, resting her head lightly on his shoulder. The city around them faded. Fear, judgment, and loneliness dissolved into something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. Trust. "Ethan, I'm scared," she whispered. "So am I," he said, taking her hand. "But what if we try anyway? What if it works?" Olivia smiled against him. The weight of her empire, the expectations, the gossip, it all seemed less important. The choice was clear, and in the quiet hum of the city night, with their daughters dreaming peacefully, they allowed themselves to imagine a life together, messy, imperfect, but filled with love. Months passed, and Olivia's apartment slowly transformed from a sleek, impersonal space into a true home. Toys were scattered across the living room. Crayon marks decorated the walls, and the aroma of baked cookies often lingered in the air. Emma and Sophia had become inseparable, little partners in mischief and laughter. Every day, Olivia watched them, realizing that the bond forming between them was a bridge between her world and Ethan's. Ethan, for his part, was quietly enchanted. Every glance at Olivia reminded him why he had stayed that day with her baby. She wasn't just brilliant and accomplished. She was warm, strong, and fiercely protective of her daughter. And watching her navigate the chaos of parenting with grace and humor only deepened his respect and admiration. One evening, as the sun dipped low behind the city skyline, Olivia found herself on the balcony with Ethan, coffee cups in hand. The girls were upstairs, giggling in their shared bedroom. Silence stretched between them, comfortable yet charged with unspoken emotions. "Olivia," Ethan began, his voice hesitant, "do you ever think about us?" She looked at him, heart pounding. "I do, every day. But I worry our worlds are so different. My life, your life, it's complicated." He shook his head, taking her hand in his. "Look at what we've built already. Our daughters, this little family. It doesn't matter what the world thinks. What matters is that we show up for each other. That's what love really is." Her chest tightened. For years, she had controlled every aspect of her life, made every decision with precision and calculation. And yet, here was a man who had shown her that some things, love, trust, family, were bigger than any plan. Over the next few weeks, their lives merged seamlessly. Weekend picnics, joint playdates, and shared dinners became the new normal. Olivia found herself smiling at Ethan's jokes and meetings, thinking about his comforting presence even during boardroom crises. Meanwhile, Ethan discovered that Olivia's brilliance extended beyond business. Her creativity, her passion, and her unwavering dedication to doing right by Emma inspired him. One quiet Sunday afternoon, as the girls napped, Olivia and Ethan sat in the living room, the soft hum of the city in the background. "I've been thinking," Olivia said slowly, "about us, about the future." Ethan's eyes met his, steady and hopeful. "I'm listening. I don't care about the gossip, the social expectations, or the critics. I know what I feel, and I want this. Us, a family, fully." Ethan smiled, brushing a loose curl from her forehead. "Me too. I want us to be a family, complete, messy, real. I can't promise perfection, but I promise presence. I promise love. Always." The words hung between them, heavy with promise. Olivia felt tears prick her eyes. This was more than attraction, more than comfort. It was alignment. Two people who had faced hardship, loss, and fear, finding each other in the middle of life's chaos. Months later, Ethan moved into Olivia's apartment permanently. They rearranged rooms, painted walls, and decorated together. Lily had a space of her own, and Emma's crib and play area were carefully positioned to allow room for both children to grow together. Board members and social circles whispered, but Olivia no longer cared. She had proven to herself time and again that love, real love, was about commitment, presence, and integrity, not appearances or wealth. One evening, Olivia returned home to find Ethan cooking dinner while the girls colored at the table, their laughter filling the space. The sight made her heart swell, ordinary, chaotic, perfect. "Welcome home," he said, placing a gentle kiss on her cheek. "I have something to tell you," she said, trying to master nerves in her voice. "What is it?" he asked, playful curiosity in his eyes. "I've been thinking about launching a new division in the company, sustainable architecture, and I want you to lead it. You've always loved design. I want you to have the opportunity to pursue it here, with me, with our family." Ethan froze, a mixture of shock and gratitude washing over him. You want me to do this with you?" Olivia nodded. "Yes, and if anyone questions it, let them. I know your capability. I trust you, and I trust us." He pulled her into a tight embrace, laughing softly through tears. "I can't believe how lucky I am. You stayed that day, fed my daughter, and now, this. It feels surreal." "Luck?" she teased. "You showed up when it mattered. That's not luck. That's heart." Ethan kissed her, slow and deliberate, grounding them in the reality they had created together. Around them, the girls played, unaware of the magnitude of the moment but perfectly attuned to its warmth. Years later, when asked how they met, Olivia would smile and recount, "I met him when I was at my most vulnerable, and he showed up for me and for my daughter without hesitation, and that changed everything." Ethan would add, "Sometimes, life forces you to trust strangers, and some strangers turn into family. Some moments change everything. That was one of them." The apartment, once a symbol of her independence and calculated control, now embodied love, family, and second chances. The billionaire CEO and the hard-working single dad, two very different worlds, had collided, and from that collision, a family had been born. In the end, it wasn't wealth, power, or social status that mattered. It was presence, integrity, and love. And Ethan and Olivia, with Sophie and Mia by their sides, had discovered that the greatest fortune of all was simply showing up when it mattered most.